Hello there. You are listening to the Light FM's Girl Talk podcast. My name is Carol.
This is Alicia.
I'm Tricia.
And this is a bonus episode for season 2 because we were supposed to have a live event, Brookstone Church. We were all geared up for that, and then it did not happen because of the coronavirus. And our world has changed, and so we figured, you know what? We need to hop back on here and have a conversation about what is going on in your world, what is going on in our world, and we need to just work this thing through. I think one of the most dangerous things about isolation is you get in your own head, or at least for me it is anyway, and I start thinking. And for me, you know, when you roll a snowball downhill, it gets bigger.
Bigger and bigger.
And that's what happens with my thoughts, is it starts with something that may or may not be true, and then it rolls downhill and gets out of control real quick. So let's just go ahead and throw it out there. Everyone, if they're honest, is probably feeling a little bit of fear, to a lot of fear. We live in uncertain times, and this is probably for our generation, the most uncertain time that we've ever known in our history. Now, generations before us have known, you know, the Great Depression and polio and all of that. So I don't argue with that. But this is for our generation, really a serious
and for
issue.
our kids who've never been through anything. My kids didn't go through 9/11.
Right.
A lot of the typical things that adults today, people in the workforce, have been through in their lives. Our kids have never. This is their first real crisis.
Yeah.
You know,
and I find that it's hard to walk that fine line of saying, okay, this is serious, and not scaring them. Is that tough for y'all?
It's been hard. That's been very hard for us.
Yeah.
We are watching the news, and the news escalates the issues, with the dramatic music. And it is very serious and very dramatic.
Yeah.
Breaking news every time.
Every minute.
And the president's coming on TV more often.
Right.
And they have concerns, and they're looking at us. And so one of the things I'm finding is trying to control my own stress and anxiety over the issues. And not hiding it, but being in control of my emotions so that I don't scare them more.
Yeah.
So if I'm in control and I feel good and I'm like, this is what we're doing. One of the things we started to do was we set up a room for homeschooling, and we got their computers set up, and we worked really, really hard over the weekend to get that set up so they know, listen, this is just a new normal. This is the way it's going to be. It's not scary. You're still going to get an education. Your teachers are going to be in communication with you. And I spent a lot of time making that happen so that they would feel comfortable.
Okay.
But I still find every day, because things are escalating so quickly and changing so quickly, of trying to find, okay, I can't react that way, or my husband and I can't have a conversation. We can't talk about this right now because the kids are here and they're going to hear us, and maybe we should talk about that later on and then come up with a plan or whatever, because they're listening to everything.
Yeah.
My son's hollering out from what did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, we're just having a conversation.
Right. Yeah. What about you?
Well, we can be honest here.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm failing is how I feel. I feel like I'm failing. I want to do all that, and I'm trying to do all that. And I set up a schedule, and we have this time for science and this time for band and this time for this. But I'm not doing well. I'm tearful, and I've been fighting a lot of stress. And as you see now, I'm about to cry right now.
That's okay.
I'm having
it's
a hard
safe place
time.
to do that. Yeah.
Well, and I wondered why, praying, God, I give you my stress. I give you my fear. I'm asking for your peace, and I will get that. God will answer my prayers, but then the fears come back up again. And I read a really interesting article, and in case somebody else is going through the level that I'm going through, this article said, when you go through experiences like this, it's not just the coronavirus. It brings up all these other traumas.
Yes.
It just stirs it all up again. And so all of a sudden, I'm remembering the fears from 9/11, and I'm remembering my mom's passing, and I'm remembering just all these different things. And I think that's why I'm struggling harder But I want to be those people on Facebook who are planting vegetable gardens. Good for you.
Way to go, Karen.
Putting on clean socks,
So I have to tell you this, because I think one of the dangerous things that we can do during this time is compare ourselves to other people. So I don't want you to do that, because people may look good on the outside, and they
may be crumbling on the inside.
Right. And so, you were talking about talking with your husband about things, and I got automatically teary because the other night, and this is speaking exactly to what you were talking about, I was getting ready for bed and everything was settled down, and I just had this overwhelming sense of grief. And I missed my daddy.
Oh, yes.
And it was because when I was a kid, I can remember there being thunderstorms. I was so afraid of thunderstorms when I was a kid. And I can remember I would run into my mom and daddy's room, and my dad was a big guy, big old teddy bear kind of guy, and I would scooch myself right up against him and hang on with everything in me to the edge of that mattress, because I knew if I could get close to my daddy, everything was going to be okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And I had that sense, and I was like, doggone it, I want somebody to take care of me right now.
Yes.
It's like I come to work every day and I do my best to hand out hope, but that feeling of not having somewhere to go if things get bad, because I don't have that place anymore. So I completely connect to what you're talking about. But also in that moment, God said to me, you need to keep doing that same thing. Keep running to your Father, because he's going to be, and for that moment, I was so comforted. But to say that that's the only time I felt that would be a lie, because I too have struggled with that. Because even if my daddy couldn't have done anything, if he was not in heaven right now, he could not do anything about the coronavirus, but I could call him and he could say, it's going to be all right. Yeah. And just hearing that made me feel better, And we have the God of the universe who has given us scripture, and it's his everything's going to be all right, and it's such a weird tension, because we're between the right now and the not yet coming true of eternity, and we live in that tension every day, but it's so much more now because of the situation that we find ourselves in, and that is the opportunity to take that deep breath and to feel that fear rush in, and to feel all those things. So I don't want you to feel guilty for feeling that way or being tearful, because and that's what's probably the hardest for me about being quarantined, and because I get stuck in my own head anyway.
Yeah.
But especially now and that's why before we started I said talk, because you had this look on your face and I wanted you to talk through it. But I have to realize that's not everybody's way of working through it. But for me, writing is a big thing.
Yeah.
But to really just process through that with somebody who understands. And I wish I had called you in that moment, because I have a friend who loves our family dearly, and she's one of the best friends I've ever had. But her parents live across town, and she can just go to their house, And when you completely lose that ability, that home base, that safe place, it is. I can't even describe the feeling that you have, because in all my life I've always said, like, if anything goes wrong, I can always go home.
Right.
If I lose my job, if I go through some failure of some sort and it, leaves me, I can always go home. And when you don't have that, it's the most lost feeling. And I thought you were going to be the teary one today, not me. Well,
anyway, this wouldn't be good if me.
No, we cannot share it.
No sharing. We are 6 feet apart.
Yes, we are 6 feet apart. But anyway, I think there's such we've got to get together virtually, even if we have to. It got so bad that I hit FaceTime on my phone to a mentor of mine.
Oh, that's smart.
And it was just seeing her face and us talking and laughing about everyday things. And, I've messed something up in here, I know, just talking about everyday things and discussing things. And I told her that feeling, and it made me feel better. Being able to share
getting it out of your heart, out of your head and out of the heart.
Yeah.
It makes you feel better.
So I don't know where I heard this. I can't remember who said it, but someone said you need to crawl up into the lap of Jesus. Like crawl into his lap and let him comfort you.
I've been listening to the song Just Be Held.
I have another one too. Yeah. And it's just new out, but it completely wrecks me. And it's by Cody Carnes. That's Carrie Job's husband. If you know, it's called "Run to the Father," and that's the song. I think I sent it yesterday to you when we were writing some things to encourage you. And that song has been going over and over in my mind because that's been a theme that I felt like God was whispering to my heart in particular. So anyway, music's a great comfort too. I just don't want you to feel like you're the only one and everybody's doing great except for you.
Sometimes I do feel that.
I know.
mean, honestly,
And
and I
it's
love
not that way.
enjoying the time apart and everybody's all good. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I don't want to cry in front of my kids.
Right.
But,
it's hard not to.
It's hard. I realized that I'm doing so much better at work than I do at home.
Yeah.
Because I'm filling my head with the truth.
Yeah.
With great songs and messages, and I'm encouraging you, and I'm listening to what I'm saying, and I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it, and I feel good and positive. I go home, I check the news, I start to get anxious, the fear starts to rise.
Yeah.
And I think the enemy sees it as what a great opportunity.
Target.
Yeah.
Everybody's weak. We all have these holes right now, and we're trying to kind of fill all the holes, and we can't fill them all. We don't have enough arms to do everything that we need to be doing right now. I mean,
and in the middle of it all, I just had a hot flash. So just
I
add
pulled a
that.
muscle. So
but we're all
About to
on
die
like
up in here.
triple duty. I don't care if you don't have little kids at home.
No.
You're worried about other things. There's caregivers that are worried that may not even be able to get to their loved one to care for them.
Yes.
There's a lot of issues.
Toilet paper, for heaven's sake.
Oh, it is. I am stressed out about toilet paper.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Because, for natural reasons. But
We need it.
well, and I just
We've never done without necessities.
That's the truth.
yeah.
Like
And
we never have.
as a kid, I realized the other day, because I kept telling my husband, I'm like, we need to find out where the toilet paper is. And I don't hoard, but I have a full pantry.
Yeah,
I have paper goods.
You're
I
prepared.
just don't like to be without.
Right.
And when I was younger, we kind of lived closer to the line. I was raised by a working mom. She was a waitress with 3 kids, single mom. We didn't have a lot. She, was paycheck to paycheck. And so there were times when we did run out of toilet paper and I had to go drive myself up to the 7-Eleven to go to the bathroom. So that anxiety is coming back of I do not want to be without toilet paper. And it's a minor thing. I worked through it. I didn't cry over it, but I think that's what this situation is doing. It's bringing back
Uncovering.
forward fears
Our
and
insecurities.
things that we've been through in the past. It's all over the place, you know?
And isn't it interesting that long before the coronavirus, we had already decided to talk about fear?
Yes, I
Right.
know.
Like, made that decision.
Yeah. And I even argued with Alicia. If you're wondering which one is the carnal, sinful one, it's me. Because Alicia said we need to do it on fear. I was like, no, let's don't do fear. Let's just. And she was like, no, we need to do it on fear. You remember that
I just
conversation?
really felt like I did. I felt called, but that's what we were supposed to do. And we did a poll in the Facebook group, and fear just really kind of rose to the top. And that is our most popular podcast from the past, season 1. We have had all these amazing episodes that have done really, really well. And fear's the one that resonated even before all of this. So I can only imagine how people are feeling today, given all that that's being put on us.
So can I tell you just a little bit about the message that I was preparing for us?
I hope so.
I would
So,
love to hear that.
so in 2 Timothy, there's this verse in there, and you've probably heard it because all your friends who are planting gardens are probably posting this verse.
Yeah, they've got it on their walls.
It's like it's on the little
Pinterest-worthy.
stake,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
garden.
Oh, that's
God has
right.
not given us a spirit of fear, but of what? Love and power and of a sound mind. So I memorized that verse probably years ago. I don't know. I've been familiar with it my whole life. I always wondered, like, when you put fear on one side of the scales, what tips that up? If you have scales and you put fear on one side, that seems like such a heavy, but why would God answer it with love, power, and a sound mind? Like I never have really thought about that.
Oh, I hadn't either, really.
And so I started thinking about it.
I just touched my face. Sorry. It's all gone.
So I started thinking about that. And I started thinking about, okay, love. Why would God say, in exchange for love, that fear is not for me, but why would I answer that fear with love? Well, because when you know you're loved, just like when I used to go and squeeze myself into the corner of that bed, when you know you're loved, it changes things. When I was with my daddy, I never worried that somebody was going to hurt me or that something was going to happen to me. I was safe because I knew that if anybody tried to hurt me, that I had a great big old teddy bear of a daddy who would become Papa Bear, and he'd protect me at the expense of his own life. Mm-hmm. You have somebody, even if you didn't have a earthly dad, have somebody who laid down his life to make sure that you knew you were loved. That should change everything. That's why God in his word and in his wisdom answered fear with love. But it's not enough just to be loved. Because if we have a God who just loves us but is not powerful enough to do something,
it's not enough.
That's not enough.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if my daddy loved me, but somebody came to hurt me and my daddy didn't stand up and protect me, then I would say he didn't fully love me because he didn't do everything he could to protect me. Mm-hmm. So that perfect love that we're loved with doesn't mean we love him perfectly. Mm-hmm. It means he loves us perfectly. And that coupled with his power, his control of this whole stinking situation enables us to be loved perfectly because it defends us. Yes. It protects us. Yes. It says, even though you may not understand and you may not even like what's going on in the world or in your own life, I've got you. Like, I've got you. You remember standing on the side of a pool when you were a kid and you wanted to jump in so bad because you knew it was so much fun because you saw other kids doing it, but you weren't sure. And so you were just hesitant. But finally, you do take that leap into the arms of somebody who you know is going to catch you. Mm-hmm. That's where we stand today. We're perfectly loved, and we know that because God has sent his only perfect son to lay down his life for my sin and for your sin. But then he's a powerful God, and we don't even have a tip of the iceberg, I don't think, of how powerful God is.
If we did.
If we did.
If we did.
We could lay down and sleep tonight. There's verses all through the Psalms. Yes. I lie down and sleep tonight because the Lord sustains me. If you need to be sustained tonight, girl, go to sleep. Go take you a nap right now because the Lord sustains you. I'd like to sign up for that myself. But yet we forget about his power, his perfect love. And then the one that just killed me was a sound mind. Why would God, on the other side of fear, put a sound mind? Because of what we've just been talking about this whole time. Because if we don't get our minds right, if we don't get in our minds that we're perfectly loved and that God is more powerful than any coronavirus or anything that can touch us, then our mind gets out of control real quick. At the cornerstone of all of our fears that we've mentioned around these microphones today has been what started in our mind. We remembered. We remembered a situation from our past that didn't go like we thought it should or like we wanted it to. And so that makes us doubt, well, is God really powerful enough? Does he really love me? That sound mind comes from not letting those first two truths be moved. If we are settled on it, if we're like, that's it. God's word, you see all them t-shirts, God's word says it and I believe it, bless God, all those things. And it's true. Yeah. But if we don't get those two things right, then our mind's going to be out of control. Yesterday, I had to do this because it kept happening. I saw my phone light up, and I would turn it over and see, and it would be a news alert. Next case confirmed. Oh, yeah. How many cases in the United States? How many cases in North Carolina? How many cases in South Carolina? How many cases in Tennessee? How many cases in Georgia? It just kept happening all day long, and finally I went, I have a choice. And I have a choice. Right. Like, I can either let this ruin my day, or I can choose to do something different. Amen. Mm-hmm. And so I think on the edge of this unprecedented time in our country, believers are standing on that edge, and we got to make a choice. I am not at all saying stick your head in the sand and act like this is not happening.
We can't do that.
No, not at all. I don't.
Crumbles.
Exactly. And you want to be informed, but I know, and we were talking about this morning, scroll through Facebook for just a few minutes and then shut it off and take inventory of how you feel. Tricia's taught me this more than anybody. Mm-hmm. Take inventory of how you feel. Do you feel better or worse? If you say, I feel worse, then that's a pretty good indication that you need to stay off social media.
And I will say one of the things I've noticed is I'm getting most of my news from Facebook.
Oh, yeah. They've added a tab now.
And it is coming faster and from so many sources, friends sharing different things.
Right.
Which can be good. But if you're checking Facebook all day long so that you have something fun or encouraging or engaging to do, it could be causing the negative effect because it is so filled with all of the news.
And some of it is not accurate.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of it is absolutely false.
Yeah.
And that happened to me. I was looking at something and I saw a symptom, and my son had a sore throat, and somebody posted something about how sore throat is indicative of the coronavirus. Do you know, I could not sleep.
I'm
I
sure.
was so
of course not.
worried about that. But, I looked into it a little bit more, and that wasn't true.
Yeah.
Someone well-meaning, I'm sure, put it on Facebook. But can I teach you a song?
Please. Please.
Sure.
It's music time with Tricia.
Music time. This is a song I learned when I was in New York City, around 9/11 time, and I was going to Times Square Church, and they sing this. God has not given us a spirit of fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear. He's given unto us a spirit of power, a spirit of love, and a sound mind. Sing it with me. God has not given us a spirit of fear.
Go ahead.
Not singing.
God has not given us a spirit of fear. He's given unto us a spirit of power, a spirit of love, and a
Sound
mind.
I wonder if we could find that somewhere recorded online and post it in the
that
show
would be
notes.
good. Yeah.
I sing it to myself.
I also wonder if we don't need to dig back up. We did a fear playlist at one time, and we had the songs on it. Did we not do that?
I don't think it actually got on, but
We could do
yeah,
that.
I think that's a good idea.
There are some songs that I think I got on last night and cried. I don't know if y'all heard this, but
Yes.
I cried big old crocodile tears. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember the old Stephen Chris Chapman song, His Strength is Perfect?
Yeah.
When our strength is gone, he'll carry us when we can't carry on. Raised in his power, the weak become strong. His strength is perfect when our strength is gone. Natalie Grant and her husband Bernie sat down at the piano, and that girl
belted
can
it out.
flat
I
sing.
know. I was just like, whoa.
So
What talent.
I'm sitting there watching it last night, big old tears just coming down my face, and I didn't even know I needed to hear that song.
Something I think we need to remind people of, especially, women, is I'm finding I'm doing a lot of things. I'm the one trying to keep everyone on schedule and make the grocery list. And my husband's a great helper. So if you're watching, you're a great helper, Chris.
She loves you, Chris.
We love you,
I
Chris.
feel
We love
like
you,
it's
Chris.
my responsibility to do certain things.
Right.
And I just, part of easing my mind is making sure everyone else is doing
Taken
well,
care of, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But are we taking time for ourselves? Yesterday, I got up and I'm like, what? I really think I need to take like 20, 30 minutes this afternoon and just sit in my bedroom and do whatever, But I didn't do it. I found out I didn't end up doing it.
You thought, I'll just put laundry in.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of other things, and then there's a lot going on at work that we have to stay on top of, and then schooling you're trying to manage throughout the day, and then it's dinner time, and then last night I was on social media is my comfort, so I didn't end up doing it. But I think we need to protect time for ourselves to read scripture, to read devotions, and I also think on Sundays we need to attend church. And I know not everybody can attend church. Most everybody cannot attend church, but there's so many online churches, and if your church can't go online, there's other churches in your area that are going to go online for several weeks probably, and some of them are putting together some really great programs. And
daily devotions too.
Yeah.
yes. And so I think I want to encourage everybody, even if your church doesn't do it, like our church isn't doing a daily devotion, but I did see your church is doing one.
Yeah, built more.
So I was like, I probably need to watch that, and we need to carve out that time and do that, and then spend time on Sundays with family doing it as well, because I just feel like that's going to connect us.
Yeah. We are living in unprecedented times, no doubt. But we love you and we care about you and we want to hear from you, especially during this time, because as we're all kind of practicing the social distancing, that doesn't mean we still can't be a community and a family. And so what we would like to offer to you is a couple of different things. If you are not a part of the Girlfriends of the Girl Talk podcast page on Facebook, we would love to be a place where you can come and get encouraged and ask questions and be honest and cry if you need to. And I mean, we really want that to be a place. You're always welcome to email us. I cannot even tell you the happy dances we do when we get emails. We pass them along to all three of us.
Yes,
we're like, did you see this? Ah! And so you can email us anytime, day or night, girltalk@thelightfm.org. We've got resources for you. Alicia's, my goodness gracious, if anybody's been working around the clock, it's been Alicia. She's been putting together resources and figuring out pages and verses, and she's still compiling that. It's a job that never ends. Kudos to you, Alicia. You're doing a great job. Thank you for providing all that for us, because I not only want to tell listeners about it, but I need it too. So thank you for that, providing that resource for us. And then take advantage of what's available. You know, if it's Facebooking with a couple of friends, do that. If it's getting on the Bible app and y'all all doing a devotion together, do that. But find a way to connect with people and get out of your own head is my problem. I need to get out of my own head. I need to call y'all. I've been missing y'all, by the way. We've been altering all of our schedules. Yeah, so this is the first time we've really been together this whole week.
All week.
And so it's been good to get back together with you. But we want to know what you need. We want to be able to care for you and give you the podcasts we need. I don't know what the future looks like for Girl Talk. I mean, I don't mean that to sound bad. We will have a season 3 and it will continue to go on, but because of the challenges of all of our schedules right now and the way everything is, we may not be able to record every week. So just look for us on Facebook, email us, let us know what you need. We would love to provide that resource for you if there's a way that we can help. Most of all, know that we love you and that we're praying for you, because it's a difficult time for us all. We're real people just like you are, and we don't have it all figured out. But this is a community and a place where you can feel safe in coming and saying, I need help. So if you need help, ask God. We love you so much, and we'll see you next time we gather around these microphones for the Girl Talk podcast.